Tonight, chilling new images of the deadly Catholic school shooting in Minneapolis. A parent capturing haunting video showing the moment children raised from inside the church where 2 students were shot and killed, 18 children and adults wounded. Authorities describing disturbing details about the suspect, saying the shooter wanted to kill defenseless children. Police say the suspect fired 116 rounds from a rifle, 3 rounds from a shotgun. Investigators sifting through hundreds of pieces of evidence. The U.S. attorney saying, quote, the shooter's heart was full of hate. And late today, the father of one of those young kids killed, condemning the shooter as a coward. Perez in Minneapolis. Tonight, the walkout at the CDC, a major revolt brewing over HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s ousting of the CDC director on the job for less than a month. 4 top officials resigning in protest, accusing Kennedy of pushing policies that do not reflect scientific reality. Also tonight, major headaches at Newark Airport. A ground stop ordered as millions of Americans head out for the long Labor Day weekend.
Use caution, frequencies are unreliable.
For the second time in just 24 hours, communications breaking down between air traffic control and pilots flying in and out of Newark. Overseas tonight, 2 weeks after President Trump's Alaska summit with Vladimir Putin, Russia unleashing its second largest attack since the start of the war in Ukraine. More than 600 drones and missiles targeting Kyiv, massive explosions erupting in residential areas, EU and British offices taking direct hits. Here in the U.S., the desperate search for a missing boy vanishing 2 weeks ago. Authorities finding his body, saying he was killed by an alligator. The heated confrontation at the U.S. Open between American Taylor Townsend and her opponent. What set this off? The dramatic rescue from a burning home. An 8-year-old boy trapped by the window on the 2nd floor. What he did to escape the smoke and the flames. And the Powerball jackpot, the new number tonight, closing in on $1 billion.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us on a busy Thursday night. I'm Rachel Scott in for David. We begin with the grief and anger after the horror that played out for school children targeted by a shooter as they prayed at church on the first week of classes at their Catholic school in Minneapolis. 2 children killed, 18 students and adults wounded. Tonight, new video from a parent who raced to the scene. The first images of children running out of that church, many in tears, older students taking the hand of younger ones. Authorities say they recovered 116 rounds from a rifle at the scene, along with 3 shotgun shells. They are sifting through the evidence, the words and the videos the suspect left behind, reflecting a descent into hate and madness. And late today, the father of 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel, who was killed, asking that his son be remembered for the person he was, not for the act that ended his life. ABC's Perez leads us off in Minneapolis tonight.
Where's the shooter? Where's the shooter?
No one knows. Tonight, the horrifying scene inside that church laid bare. Video taken by a parent who raced to the Annunciation School church shows students running through the church cowering, fear on their faces, a boy with his ears covered, one child in a wheelchair. In this shell-shocked community, investigators poring over a mountain of evidence trying to figure out what drove a deranged shooter to slaughter children as they prayed in church.
The shooter was obsessed with the idea of killing children.
Authorities say they recovered 116 rifle rounds at the scene, along with 3 shotgun shells.
Do you think along the way maybe some signs or red flags were missed, or?
That is certainly a possibility, but again, we're only 24 hours into this investigation.
A coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us.
Jesse Merkel's 8-year-old son Fletcher was one of 2 children killed in the shooting. Devastated, the grieving father remembering his little boy.
Fletcher loved his family, friends, fishing, cooking, and any sport that he was allowed to play. While the hole in our hearts and lives will never be filled, I hope that in time our family can find healing.
15 children and 3 parishioners in their 80s were hurt, one hospital treating 8 children. First responders describing harrowing moments of bravery.
I might be saying too much, but we had one kid that covered up another kid and took a shotgun blast to his back and things like that, and they were helping each other out.
ICU nurse Amy Forchas rushed to her job as a pediatric nurse in the same hospital, only to find the unthinkable.
So she checks into work going to help to do her job.
That's all. That's exactly how it was.
Without knowing at the time.
Without knowing that One of the patients would be her daughter.
Her daughter, Sophia, is out of surgery, but still in critical condition. Overnight, thousands came out for a vigil, a community forever linked by a shared grief from a senseless attack that has changed the course of so many lives.
How is it that such a terrible tragedy could take place in a place that's the house of God and the gate of heaven? It's unthinkable.
Authorities searching multiple residences connected to the shooter, finding a months-long descent into madness. A key piece of evidence, a YouTube video that was timed to be seen after the attack was carried out.
The shooter expressed hate towards black people. The shooter expressed hate towards Mexican people. The shooter expressed hate towards Christian people. The shooter expressed hate towards Jewish people. In short, the shooter appeared to hate all of us.
Another video showing the suspect taking a knife and stabbing an image of church pews, and a 4-page letter to the shooter's family warning them of the suspect's plan to kill. The shooter also expressed hatred of President Donald Trump.
There appears to be only one group that the shooter didn't hate. One group of people who the shooter admired. The group were the school shooters and mass murderers that are notorious in this country.
Robin Westman, seen in this yearbook photo obtained by our affiliate KSTP, attended the very school that they attacked. At age 17, they filed documents to change names from Robert to Robin. Those documents were signed by their mother, Mary Grace Westman, who also worked at the school, retiring in 2021. Authorities say the shooter had no criminal history and purchased a rifle, shotgun, and pistol legally. And Rachel, we just got word from the family of the other victim killed in all of this. That's 10-year-old Harper Moisky. The family writing in a statement, no family should ever have to endure this kind of pain. We urge our leaders and communities to take meaningful steps to address gun violence and the mental health crisis in this country. Rachel?
Yeah, officials say there is no amount of evidence that can make sense of this unthinkable tragedy. All right, Alex Perez reporting on this tragedy for us. Alex, thank you. We turn now to the new fallout tonight after the White House announced the firing of CDC Director Susan Menarez only weeks into the job. Menarez is refusing to resign, saying only President Trump himself can fire her. 4 other top officials at the CDC have now resigned, and tonight a walkout protest at the health agency. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
Tonight at the Centers for Disease Control, dozens of workers walking out. 4 top officials resigning in protest after Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. ousted CDC Director Susan Menarez.
We need our leaders above us to believe in CDC and stop saying question the experts.
In his resignation letter, the director of the Immunization Office saying Secretary Kennedy treats the CDC as a tool to generate policies and materials that do not reflect scientific reality.
Raise your right hand.
Kennedy swore Menarez in as the new CDC director just last month.
Susan is an expert in public health.
Kennedy is a known vaccine skeptic. In her confirmation hearing, Menarez defending the scientific consensus.
Vaccines absolutely save lives. And if I'm confirmed as a CDC director, I commit to making sure that we continue to prioritize vaccine availability.
But she clashed with Kennedy, who has moved quickly to overhaul vaccine policy. Just yesterday, the FDA narrowing the scope of people approved for the COVID vaccine this fall to just people over 65 and adults and children at high risk. Her lawyers say she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fire dedicated health experts.
There were 2 lines. One is that she would never do anything that was illegal, and the other was that she would never do anything that flew in the face of science, and she was being asked to do both of those things.
Tonight, the CDC in turmoil. Menarez says she hasn't resigned, that the only person who can fire her is President Trump, and that she still hasn't heard from him. But the White House insists the president has fired her because she is, quote, not aligned with his mission.
There's a lot of trouble at CDC, and it's going to require getting rid of some people over the long term in order for us to change the institutional culture.
And tonight, the White House naming a replacement to lead the CDC, tapping Kennedy's deputy, Jim O'Neill, to serve as interim director. He's been Kennedy's number 2 for the past 3 months and has said previously that he supports vaccines, but not government mandates. Rachel.
Mary Bruce with this sudden shakeup at the CDC. All right, Mary, thank you. We do move on now to the other major news this Thursday night. There is new trouble at Newark Airport. Air traffic controllers and pilots unable to hear each other clearly, triggering a ground stop and then ongoing delays. All of this happening on what the FAA says is the busiest travel day ahead of the holiday weekend. ABC's Morgan Norwood is at Newark tonight.
With more than 50,000 flights expected to take to the skies today, the busiest one for the holiday weekend, air traffic control issues forcing a ground stop at Newark Liberty International. Many incoming flights halted for nearly 2 hours as controllers and pilots struggled to hear each other on some radio frequencies.
Is it the COM or the ILS frequencies that are unreliable? It's our COM. Same old here. Frequencies are no good. There's parts missing. I don't know. They come and go.
The outage occurring at the Philadelphia facility that directs aircraft in and out of Newark. It's the second one in the past day. Betty Bunger telling me she's facing a 2-hour delay.
You know, you can't get yourself upset. It's a holiday weekend. There's a lot of people, lots of crying babies. They're more unhappy than I am.
That same Philadelphia facility plagued by staffing shortages and equipment failures for months. The disruption coming as the FAA expects a record-breaking weekend for air travel, the busiest in 15 years. More than 17 million travelers expected to pass through checkpoints today through Wednesday.
And Rachel, the average delays here at Newark topping about 2 hours. The FAA also slashing flights by about 20% as it investigates what caused this communication issue. Rachel?
A major headache for travelers. Right, Morgan, thank you. We turn overseas tonight, 2 weeks after President Trump hosted Vladimir Putin at the Alaska summit aimed at achieving a ceasefire. Russia pounded Ukraine with one of the fiercest assaults of the war. Here's ABC's chief international correspondent, James Longman.
The death toll is rising tonight after one of the biggest Russian attacks on Ukraine since the start of the war. This is the moment a Russian missile slammed into a residential neighborhood in Kyiv. Seconds later, another hit. Apartment buildings turned into rubble and ash, seen in videos circulating online. More than 600 drones and missiles fired on multiple targets across the country. This cafe destroyed. Air raid sirens blaring for 11 hours. More than 20 people killed, including 4 children, a 2-year-old among them. This catastrophic attack comes less than 2 weeks after President Trump and Vladimir Putin met in Alaska in an effort to stop the war. But Putin apparently had a different kind of diplomacy in mind. Today, targeting critical buildings that house the European Union's mission in Ukraine, the British Council and other foreign embassies. Tonight, President Zelensky says this was not only a strike on Ukraine, but on Europe and President Trump as well.
And Rachel, there are serious doubts tonight about whether that Putin-Zelensky meeting will happen anytime soon, let alone an end to this war. Rachel?
All right, James, thank you. Back here now to the desperate search for a missing boy in New Orleans. He vanished 2 weeks ago. Authorities finding his body in a pond near his home. They say he was killed by an alligator. Here's ABC's Victor Oquendo.
Tonight, authorities say a horrific alligator attack in New Orleans left a young child dead. 12-year-old Brian Vasquez, who vanished 2 weeks ago, was found by Cajun Navy searchers in an alligator-infested pond near his home.
We will have hunters in that body of water eradicating these nuisance alligators.
At least 2 alligators have been caught. Residents are frustrated.
This should have been dredged a long time ago, and this should have been done a long time ago.
Police say Vasquez is nonverbal. Tonight, the Cajun Navy says they're helping to identify the gator that took the little boy's life.
Maybe, hopefully, too, one day this neighborhood can, take back this waterway.
And Rachel, New Orleans police have launched an internal investigation over a delay in their initial response after that child went missing. Rachel?
All right, Victor, thank you. Now to that heated confrontation after a second-round match at the U.S. Open here in New York. After Ostapenko lost to Taylor Townsend, the two exchanging sharp words. Townsend saying Ostapenko accusing her of having no class and no education. ABC's Matt Rivers has more.
It was the U.S. Open play that sparked a tense showdown. American Taylor Townsend clipping the top of the net, then going on to clinch a win against Ostapenko of Latvia. Ostapenko telling Townsend to apologize for skimming the net, a lucky break, which, according to tennis etiquette, usually prompts a wave or gesture of apology. After the match, Townsend describing it this way.
It's competition. People get upset when they lose, and you can't. Some people say bad things. She told me I have no class, I have no education.
Later, Townsend was asked if she thought there were racial undertones in Ostapenko's comments.
I didn't take it in that way, but also, that has been a stigma in our community of, being non-educated and all the things when it's the furthest thing from the truth. And the thing that I'm the most proud of is that I let my racket talk.
Rachel, Ostapenko says she's been accused of racism, responding on social media, saying in part, "I was never racist in my life and I respect all nations of people in the world. For me, it doesn't matter where you come from." Rachel?
All right, Matt Rivers for us. Thank you. When we come back, the salmonella outbreak across more than a dozen states, at least 95 people sickened. Actor George Clooney and the health issue forcing him to cancel public appearances. And the dramatic rescue from a burning home. An 8-year-old boy trapped by the window on the second floor. What he did to escape the smoke and flames. Tonight, an 8-year-old boy making a dramatic escape from a burning home in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Smoke and flames filling the house. The boy trapped upstairs, leaping from a second-floor window. 2 police officers and a neighbor catching him in their arms and then racing him to safety. And the CDC tonight warning about a salmonella outbreak linked to recalled eggs. At least 95 people getting sick in 14 states, 18 patients hospitalized. Country Eggs has now recalled cartons of large brown cage-free Sunshine Yolk eggs. They have sell-by dates of July 1st through September 16th. All right, when we come back, George Clooney canceling appearances, news about his health tonight, and the Powerball jackpot closing in on $1 billion. To the index now, actor George Clooney canceling appearances at the Venice Film Festival because of an illness. He's there to promote his new film, Jay Kelly. His spokesperson telling People magazine he's suffering a bad sinus infection and under doctor's orders to scale back his plans. But tonight, Clooney rallying, attending tonight's premiere with his wife, Amal Clooney. And the Powerball jackpot closing in on $1 billion. Saturday's drawing now worth $950 million, the 6th largest prize in the game's history. The cash option worth nearly $429 million. We wish you all good luck. When we come back, the grandma, her 16 grandchildren, and the surprise summer vacation you won't believe. And finally tonight, Adventures with Grandma, America Strong. Tonight, as families across the country are on their summer vacations together, an incredible surprise and gift to a beloved grandmother from her 16 grandchildren. For more than 2 decades now, Grandma Noreen has been taking each of her grandkids on a special one-on-one summer vacation when they finish the 8th grade, each choosing the spot. Through the years, starting in the year 2000, taking her granddaughter Brittany to New York, Eric to Florida, Liz to Washington, D.C., Bill to North Carolina, Scott to San Francisco, Michael to Boston, Katie to New York, Anna to San Diego, Juliana to New York, Jackson to San Francisco, Matthew on a road trip through the Midwest, Tristan on a road trip through Lake Michigan, Patrick to Florida, Jake to Seattle, Peyton to San Antonio, and finally, just last year, taking Brady to San Diego. 16 trips in 24 years. So to say thank you, they had an idea. To go all in together to take her to a place she's never been before, a surprise trip to Hawaii.
Grandma Noreen.
The flight attendants making the announcement.
She's that cute little lady sitting in 35 Alpha with that lay on already. She's excited for this trip.
Then reading a note from her grandchildren.
Thank you for your love, your courage, and your endless curiosity, for being our biggest fan, our favorite travel buddy, and the queen of making memories. We love you, Grandma Noreen.
And with us tonight, Grandma Noreen's grandkids, Eric.
She was always there for us. She was our #1 fan.
Liz.
She's so caring, great listener, loves to tell stories.
And Katie.
She understands and loves everyone.
And tonight, a very grateful grandmother.
I would like to let people know how wonderful it is to have grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I'm very blessed and a very happy grandma.
We're happy for her and for her entire family. Thank you for watching. I'm Rachel Scott. For David and all of us here, good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 3rd year in a row.